Can you tell me what is going on inside your mind?
Hi everyone, I know I'm late. Actually, I ordered my S21 Plus from Amazon and it got delayed. So in the meanwhile, I got this S21 Ultra. There's a reason I purchased S21 Plus in the first place, because I think that's more value for money, because not everyone needs these bigger lens cameras. And also this phone is quite thick and heavy. Let's keep S21 Plus aside, because I'll be talking about that in my next video when I will receive that product. But before that, I need to talk about this S21 Ultra. So I've been using this phone for a couple of days. I know it's not enough time to give my full review, but one thing I can say, if you have the money and if you're okay with the size, get this one. If you have been following my channel from last year, you would know my relationship with Samsung Exynos. Samsung is the reason I switched to Apple iPhone 12. I never used iPhone before, and I was not planning to switch to Samsung for the same reason. iPhone gave me two reasons that I stick to iOS: the good battery life and a small form factor, but I really miss Android. I already made a video about it, that what I miss about Android, but the other day I was trying to remove a password from a PDF file, and in Android it's very easy. You just go to print section and save as PDF and the password is removed. But in iPhone I was not able to do that. I'm sure there will be apps, but that's not a native application, and these small things made me miss Android more and more. And then Samsung released S21 series. And I was not really excited about the S21 itself because of the high price and downgrades. Because this is the only phone that came with upgrade, and if you don't count the micro SD card removal. Actually, I'm okay with that because it does come with the 256 base storage, and that's enough for me. But for a lot of people, I know it's a problem. But removing the charger and the earphones was a bad call from Samsung. I don't have a 25-watt charger, and my MacBook charger cannot charge this phone at the full capacity. So I'm going to miss that. And this phone does not support any special charging. It only has that 25-watt fast charging and 15-watt fast wireless charging. And they also removed the MST support from Samsung Pay this year. But that's it. That's all you have to lose. But you get a better CPU, a great screen with WQHD resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. You also get a matte finish on the back, and I was waiting for this for a very long time. And I love this black color. I mean, look at this phone. It looks amazing. It's slippery as hell, but I don't feel like putting a case on it. But I think you should. It's built like a tank. I don't really like big phones, but I really like best phone, and this is the best Android phone you can get right now. Yes, the camera bump is still huge and it does wobble on the flat surface, but it's Samsung way of saying this is what we have, just deal with it. If I talk about display, it's very hard to distinguish the differences from this series and the S10 series. I'm not saying it's not better or brighter, I'm just saying the screens from S10 series has been so great. I mean, I don't even know what to look in a display anymore. It is great, the colors are vivid, and it's a very bright display. If you compare this display with iPhone 12, you will immediately notice that iPhone 12 is much warmer, and most of the time this S21 Ultra is a much better display for watching media and just playing with the phone itself. But there's one section where I think iPhone 12 is doing a much better job, and that is color accuracy. So when you take a picture on iPhone 12, you can actually see what you're going to get. But on S20 Ultra, it's more saturated than it actually is. So whenever you look the pictures on monitor, it looks very different from the screen itself. And if I set the display setting to natural as compared to vivid, S21 Ultra screen looks a bit dull as compared to iPhone. So I think iPhone has a better balanced colored display, and it also a 10-bit panel as compared to Samsung's 8-bit panel. And if I talk about the brightness, S21 Ultra can go up to 1500 nits, but in the day broad light, I think both phones are doing great. So I don't have any problem with that. Okay, now we have to talk about the refresh rate, because everyone is angry that Apple didn't bring a 120Hz refresh rate panel, and Samsung has WQHD panel with 120Hz refresh rate. I won't be able to show you that refresh rate on this 30 frames per second video, but when I tell you, I think you should believe me, the difference is not huge. I'm not saying there's no difference between 60Hz and 120Hz, there is. But when I talk about iPhone 60Hz and Samsung 120Hz, the difference is not huge. I was expecting to see a bit of stutters after switching from S21 Ultra to iPhone 12, but there wasn't. And trust me, S21 Ultra is definitely fast, but iPhone 12 is equally smooth, so you don't have to judge the screen just because of the refresh rate. The experience of both of the phones has been really good. Yes, S21 Ultra definitely have an advantage of 120Hz refresh while gaming, but other than that, I really didn't see the experience different. The both experience has been good so far. Samsung finally upgraded their fingerprint sensor, and this year it's larger and faster. Yes, it's not a day-night difference from last year generation, but it's much better and it's less frustrating from last year. I completely stopped using Samsung's Face Unlock. I think it's getting slower with every generation, so I'm just relying on the fingerprint right now. In normal scenarios, like not going out and not having a pandemic, I will definitely prefer Face ID because it's more convenient. But yes, I'm enjoying the fingerprint sensor right now, and I am pretty happy with the fingerprint sensor this year. Exynos 2100. Oh boy. I think Samsung played this one a little smart. I'm not saying it's not an improvement over Exynos 990, it definitely is, but launching this phone early this year in the winter is helping Exynos to cool down earlier. I'm not saying it doesn't get hot or warm while playing game, it really does, but it's not uncomfortable like last year of S20. So I really hope this is going to last in the summer as well, but as of now it's a great processor and I don't really have a lot of complaints with it. But it is definitely an improvement over last year's chipset. I'm not saying it's on par with Snapdragon 888 or it's 865 plus, but I think it's in the range of Snapdragon 865 and I will take it. Listen to me before yelling at me. I'm really okay with Samsung's strategy of using their own chipset to earn more money. I'm really okay with that. The only reason I was crying about Snapdragon last year, not because it's better, because it's more efficient and stable. So if Exynos 2100 is not powerful as Snapdragon 888, I'm okay with that as long as I don't see the real world performance difference in both of them, which I didn't. Also, stop looking at just on the benchmarks number, they do not tell the full story. It has the same CPU as Snapdragon 888, but it is a bit overclocked, and after some months Snapdragon 888 Plus will come and it will have an overclocked CPU and it will cross these benchmarks again. I think the main area where Samsung needs to improve is the GPU. So the Mali GPU is still behind from the Adreno one, but yes, me like everyone else is waiting for AMD GPU in Samsung phones. It's been only few days and my experience with Exynos 2100 has been good. It's not great, it still gets warm, but it's much better from last year. So I'm going to give my full review after some time, but as of right now, I played some session of Call of Duty and it was okay. It ran smoothly. I was running the application on the full setting. So I didn't see any sort of frame drop, but yes, it was not as smooth as my iPhone. I think the 5nm technology and removing their custom Mongoose chips has really helped them to bring that WQHD screen with 120Hz refresh rate display. Yes, it's an adaptive refresh rate display from 10Hz to 120Hz, but the battery life has been improved a lot from last year, especially the standby time. So I was losing approximately 4% overnight, which is great for Exynos because in the past Exynos chips has been really bad for standby. It is still not on iPhone level because on my iPhone 12 I get around 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, but on this phone I was getting 5 hours and 30 minutes or 6 hours of screen on time, which is still okay and it's still learning, but I was expecting a little more because it has that adaptive refresh rate. I usually don't talk about sound in my reviews because most of the flagship have great sound, but in S21 Ultra I noticed one thing, that the sound is a little hollow. Listen to this. I think iPhone 12 has a more richer sound and more bass. S21 Ultra speakers are great, they're actually louder, but not as good as iPhones. Let's talk about cameras. So you get 4 lenses but 5 functionalities and a laser autofocus. So you get a new 108 megapixel main sensor, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel 3x and 10 megapixel 10x zoom. You can also take macro shot from the ultra wide camera, and all the lenses have OIS except that ultra wide lens. So the camera is a huge improvement over last year S20 Ultra. You get a better color accuracy and also a natural screen colors, and most of the things has been upgraded. But the only thing where S21 Ultra lacks is the video. Hi everyone, so this is the recording quality from front camera. I'm using 4K 30 frames per second. This is the stabilization and you can check the HDR as well if you want. It does look good. Hi everyone. I'm recording from the rear camera. So this is 4K 60 frames per second, and now I'm walking so you can see the stabilization as well, and you can see the HDR as well in the video. I'm also recording the sound from the camera itself, so just let me know. how it sounds. So there's a lot of ambient sound. I didn't really see any noticeable improvement in the video section. So you get the 8K 24 frames per second, which is still unusable for me. And for the 4K 60 frames per second, it still feels overprocessed. So up to 4K 30 frames per second, it's a great camera. But after that, I haven't seen any improvements. You also get a new director view, which is good for vloggers, but it is set to 1080p. Hi everyone, so this is the director view. I think it's going to record in full HD. So let me just walk and I will switch the camera in between. So this is the normal camera. This is the wide angle camera. As you can see the HDR as well. And the ambient sound, I'm sorry about that. And this is the zoom lens. So when it comes to video, iPhone is still better, and I'm going to make a dedicated camera comparison between this phone and iPhone 12. But in terms of picture, S21 Ultra really impressed me. The versatility is amazing. Also the HDR and the skin color tones is mostly better on S21 Ultra. Yes, the portrait is not a forte of Samsung and it does not look natural, but other than that, I think the photos department goes to S21 Ultra. But I think the shutter speed is slow on S21 Ultra. So most of the time I try to take picture of my pets, it comes out blurry because it takes more time than iPhone 12. So I think you should consider about that if you have pets or you're planning to take pictures of your kids. If I talk about software, you get One UI 3.1 out of the box with Android 11, and Samsung is promising 3 years of update, so you're going to get Android 14 at least. If I talk about my experience with One UI, it has been great so far. I didn't face any issues and the new UI changes are okay for me, so I don't have any problem with that. I think the transitions are much better in this One UI and they adapt that 120Hz refresh rate really well. Yes, sometimes I see some glitches and sometimes the recent app does not work and some apps sometimes take some time to respond. And I think it has more to do with that 120Hz refresh rate because the phone is so fast, otherwise sometimes a third-party app does not respond at that speed. Cellular service on this phone has been good so far. I didn't face any sort of call drops, and you also get all the major 5G bands, so you don't have to worry about that. There's also dual SIM support and you can insert both physical SIM in the phone. And this is the first phone to get Wi-Fi 6E, although I only have Wi-Fi 6, but I was getting full speed, so that was amazing. Do check out my Wi-Fi 6 video to know more. And now let's talk about how I got this phone at the same price of iPhone 12. So I got this phone for 80,000 rupees, which is approximately $1,100. And there is no trick basically. So I got this phone with some bank offers, Watch Active and Smart Tag. So I sold my Watch Active and Smart Tag because I already have Galaxy Watch and the Smart Tag is coming with S21 Plus. And I got my iPhone 12 for 79,000 rupees, which is just 1,000 rupees cheaper than this S21 Ultra. I like my iPhone 12. It has a compact body and a great battery life, but I think this phone is on next level, so it is a beast. So everyone is comparing this S21 Ultra with iPhone 12 Pro Max because it is actually cheaper in US than this S21 Ultra, but in India with that Apple tax and duties, you can actually get these phones on almost similar prices. So I think with that, I think this is a much better phone as compared to iPhone 12. Like I said, it's not a full review and it's going to take me some time because I've been using this phone from a couple of days. My S21 Plus is also coming, so I'm going to compare that phone with this S21 Ultra to see the difference between display and the camera. So if the difference is not huge, S21 Plus can be my favorite phone. I am also going to compare that phone with iPhone 12 and I also have S10, so I'm going to tell you whether it's worth upgrading from S10 or not. So if you want to see all of that, please subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.